In January 2015, the National Building and Housing Research Agency of Tanzania was the starting point for a capacity building visit by Professor Sandy Halliday of Gaia Research. Invited by Warwick University, her mission was to support research into energy and low-income tropical housing.
This energy and low-income tropical housing is a project that is concerned about the material we use, how much energy we required in our houses and inside the materials we are using, and also how much carbon do we produce during production and during use. We do research on site where people can use direct material. We do theory, but ours is more practical than. So in this project, our main part is promotion and the dissemination of the finding of the project.
The delegates visited a community village set up to relocate displaced families from elsewhere in Dar es Salaam. The use of low-energy construction methods was one of the project's objectives.
You start with making the bricks. You use very little cement in making the bricks. And you can see this is dry bond technology. We don't use cement in building the walls, right? So you're saving again. But during plastering as well, you use very thin layer of plaster. Right. So you're going to save there as well. And you can opt to plaster inside the house and leave the outside of the house unplastered and just do some pointing and stuff. But you know, you can save huge in finishing as well.
Following a classroom discussion of the issues raised, the delegates travelled to a number of building suppliers to examine their products and manufacturing techniques to better understand the principles of embodied energy in construction.
It's about 3,000 blocks, which we produce a day. 6 hours you can produce 3,000 blocks or 4,000 blocks.
What we are doing is to train people and disseminate the technology of affordable housing. We aim at reducing construction costs. You know, building materials have become expensive, and most of them are imported, so we are trying to propagate the technology of using locally available building materials.
As well as external suppliers, the trip also looked at work done at the NHBRA laboratories, including research into sustainable brick and tile manufacture.
It has been very successful. I think it's like an eye-opening training, because I don't think if we have been involving ourselves in energy consideration when designing our buildings and using building materials. But this course shows us a lot of important things to consider when you design and choose what building materials you use in terms of energy.
Staff at the NHBRA are studying all aspects of building construction and are sharing their innovations with delegates from neighbouring Uganda.
Actually, I want to use less tiles per square meter, because for this one we use 12 pieces per square meter. For the new one, we want to use up to 8 pieces per square meter. And even the strength, the new one is meant to be used to carry heavy load.
The mission to Tanzania ended with further presentations and workshops aimed at widening the awareness of embodied energy in materials and operational energy issues.
No, we are definitely going to start using this technology. We are going to do research on our buildings first, our building materials, because we have never done that before. So this is going to be a starting point on how we should consider energy in our materials. So it's going to be really important for us to utilize this training we got.
Uganda Martyrs University is another participant in the Elith project. Part of their mission strategy involved engaging architectural practices in Kampala, seeking to understand their positions on sustainability and their research needs.
We had an opportunity to visit 5 practices, 4 on Wednesday and 1 on Thursday. The intention of these visits was to familiarize ourselves with the state of affairs with regard to how far practices are applying the whole concept of sustainability in practice. We were able to get a variety of different practices in terms of how old the practice is and how the size of different practices. And of course, some practices that are multicultural, a few international practices. And of course, we got to eventually meet them at another platform where they had an opportunity to listen to Sandy Halliday as another way of clarifying some of the issues that they were concerned about. The seminar was another way of attracting more people, since we can't visit all the practices that we would like to, and at the same time open up the platform to different built environment professionals. So during that seminar, we had at the top of the list those practices that we had visited. We had some of them showing up. Then we had some recent graduates of architecture that are finding their footing in practices, those that are actually keen on applying some of the skills they have acquired and are also passionate about sustainability. The other group of practice that was there is a practice based on a missionary approach that are dealing with schools at the moment. So we had that variety of participants.
Something like being involved in building a building or in designing their environment, people learn skills.
From the responses and comments and thoughts that they shared, it's clear that a lot of people are not necessarily familiar, and it's not clear whether they are really concerned about sustainability. But what is clear to me is that this dialogue is a good start for us to begin to persuade people differently on what sustainability actually could be.
At Uganda Martyrs University, the Faculty of the Built Environment has been very proactive in seeking different ways of approaching education and integrating different aspects of sustainability and environmental design into the curriculum. So in that regard, I'll be very interested in seeing the faculty grow into one of the foremost proponents of this area within East Africa and probably in Africa, because this is a new field. It is something that not many universities are looking into, and we feel it's very important not only for the future of architecture, but the future of our built environments in general.
Today's seminar is a culmination of this week's activities, where this time round we are engaging students. It's based on Sandy's 6 principles of sustainability, a way of engaging different stakeholders, in this case students, and perhaps also trying to imitate a participatory design process and make students aware of the importance of hearing other people's opinion on what sustainability is and some of the things they would like to achieve.
The exercise we carried out in a way was directed at getting students to question their decisions, such that whenever they are faced with something similar, they actually understand how a decision can come out of that in a more positive way rather than as an ad hoc decision.
Akusinza mani wabana golokoka, kata mamirira toja.